Hell yeah.
Yes.
Love that. Lonnie is the man. Oh, and hey, look at that. First up on the list is the little heathen.
What's up?
He's little and he's a heathen.
Oh, no relation.
No relation at all. Hello, son. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Hi, Ellie. So we're going to see if Adam and I can get this thing going and have a good discussion, which we always do. And we're going to see if a little egg hatches and turns into Lindsay later on. And if not, you'll just have to deal with our pretty faces. You know what I mean? So, hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, she just messaged us, said she's pissy. She's got to calm down.
Oh, my God. Maybe a Klondike bar will help her.
What
I'm
would
going to
you
tell her right
do
now. Eat
for a Klondike bar?
Klondike and get out here. So, what's new in the Twitterverse for you? Anything exciting? Reading anything great lately?
No, it's been pretty calm, really. Especially in Twitter. I feel like I'm usually in some type of heated argument with somebody about principles versus methods, but not too much lately.
Yeah, it has been relatively non-eventful. I won't say names, but yeah, it's good because it's like,
good.
You know, I had one of the fan favorites. She loves me. Won't say her name, but she had a comment for me last night. Completely misrepresented everything I said one more time, and and she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to misrepresent. I guess I'm good. Good night." I'm like, "Bye."
Yeah. It's, I was talking with a buddy of mine who came over last night. We got on the same kind of a topic, talking about how people's identities get wrapped up in whatever it is, and when you disagree with whatever it is you're disagreeing with, their identity is so wrapped up in it, they take it as that personal insult and personal attack and just go off the rails. We were talking really about politics, but I was telling him about, same thing with sobriety and recovery sources. She understands because I went to rehab with him, but so it was, we were laughing.
Yeah, Lindsay and I kind of talked about that today too. Like, people attach emotions to it, even when they don't even really, care about the topic. They just want to comment on something just to comment.
Yep. And I was thinking about this this morning or yesterday. I was at the gym about to go into the sauna, and for some reason thinking about beliefs, and I'm always kind of thinking about how I'm going to start bringing these topics up to Adeline. These question your beliefs. As kids, you have to guide them in a certain direction, and I want her to go down a path of her choosing, but at the same time I have to manage the path for her until she gets to be a certain age. And so that kind of, without meaning to, instills certain beliefs. And so at some point you got to say, hey, look, everything that you think you believe right now, you don't actually believe on your own. You believe it because I've told you to believe it. So now what I'm telling you to do is go back and question everything you believe and figure out why you believe it. Do you believe it, or is it something that I've told you to believe and you're not quite sure that you agree with it? And so it's just always thinking, like, in the back of my mind when I'm on a decision, or some topic comes up, I'm like, how am I going to explain this to her later in life? So, but anyway.
No, yeah, that's
Right.
my son who was on here saying hey a second ago.
Yep.
I kind of got into the Norse mythology, and we were talking about that. I kind of dove into that while I was in treatment, and then kind of really dove into it when I got out. And he kind of latched onto it. He liked it too. He liked the idea of Odin and Thor, and and I told him stories about that. And he had a really good friend who his buddy was. And again, these kids are 10. He's 11 now, so probably 10 at the time.
Yep.
And they're having these theology conversations at recess or something, because his friend was a Christian, and his Christian friend said, "Oh, well, that's not real," or this and that, and he's like, "Dad," and he kind of felt bad about it, but these are just, I'm not telling him to believe a certain way, but I want to be there,
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
What ifs? Well, what
Exactly.
if, did you think about this? Did you think about that?
Yep.
And nobody ever did that for me when I was growing up, and I was
me either.
Way behind.
It's like it's been just not, I don't want to say it's been an eye-opening experience, but it's been like I've finally been scratching this spiritual itch that I've had my entire life. Now that I've really kind of dug into what are my beliefs spiritually and around that and everything. And so, it's kind of like, so I've found a path that finally makes sense to me and how I've thought about life my entire life, that, it pulls in the things that I believe and, rejects the ones I don't. So.
Yeah. And how I learned by sticking my foot in my mouth a lot, early on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to love to talk politics. When I started drinking fifth a night, it was a couple years before the 2016 election. And my fun was to get on Twitter after I got a good buzz going and talk shit. And boy, I learned a lot of lessons that way. I was like, I know nothing about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, me too. It's like when you try to talk, I try to have a business conversation with somebody who actually understands business, I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about here. We can talk about leadership, but business, nope, no clue.
Right. Yeah, but I humbled myself, and I've learned to delete a lot of things before I post them.
Yeah.
And I've learned to rethink things before I hit the reply button. And I've also learned to say, yeah, you know what? I was wrong on that.
Yeah. And I think part of sobriety in general is learning that lesson of, oh, I don't know as much as I think I do. About all aspects of life, especially yourself. And where I run into trouble, where I clash with people, are people who have one limited viewpoint and think that is all there is.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, brain doesn't work that way. So
that's interesting you brought that up, because there was talk on the X feed yesterday, I think it was, about somebody posted, "Are you grateful for your addiction?" Or grateful
I saw that, man. And we've talked about this before. No, I think anybody that says that they are grateful for being an addict or an alcoholic is completely full of crap. Sure. I think they are trying to make themselves feel better by saying that. I think it's completely different from saying I am completely grateful for the lessons I have learned and what I have discovered about myself and who I am now as a person, because I have come out the other side stronger. But anybody that says that I am grateful for the actual adversity of addiction, I think my personal opinion, full of crap.
Well, you answered my follow-up question already, and that was going to be, you can be, was there benefit from going through it? Because you know, if I asked myself that question, I don't think that I would be the person that I am today had I not gone through that. So yeah, the lessons that I've learned from
Yeah.
having to go through that, but that's everybody, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that's
if,
life too.
yeah, yeah, you
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 know?
you go through adversity and you learn from it. That can be
Yeah.
losing a parent early on. That can be
Yeah.
losing a sibling or a son or daughter. You know, those things. Dealing with a disease
Yeah.
like a real disease like cancer. You know, and coming through it. You know, those things. Oh,
Yeah.
I slid one in there, but you know, people are. I mean, you watch these videos. I cry all the
Yeah.
time. These videos come on TikTok, and it's of these little kids, you know, just powering through and making the most out of every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
That's just what you do. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm glad I survived my adversity
Yep.
and made it through the other side,
Yeah.
and I'm
It's
proud
like,
of who I am. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can take it as simple as, being bullied in school. If you were bullied in school, you
Fuck yeah.
learned to toughen up a little bit and, not take everything personally. Maybe you learned how to defend yourself. You learned how to stand up for yourself. Are you grateful for the bully and the bullying and all that
Yeah.
suffering? No,
Yeah.
you're not grateful for it. You're grateful for the
Oh,
lessons you learned.
no,
Uh,
I'm so grateful that I had my underwear pulled over
yeah.
my head and, you know, shit myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's come on. We
Yeah.
wish that we could learn these lessons to, you know, a different way.
Yeah.
Um,
And I've said it before, and I firmly believe this. I think these lessons, it doesn't matter what the adversity is. You will go through some sort of adversity to learn those lessons.
yeah,
That's why I think anybody that says, oh, I'm grateful to have been an alcoholic, I'm like, you were
yeah,
going to learn the lessons anyway. So
yeah. I can tell you right now, if I said that I was grateful about my alcoholism, then that would mean that I was grateful for missing out on my kids' lives for those 2 years going through
yeah,
treatment and being a drunk. And that's a fucking lie because I
yep,
regret every second of it.
yep, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'll never get that time back with him. So no, I'm not grateful for being an alcoholic. I hate that guy, but I'm starting to like more and more who this dude is right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I agree with that. That brings. So let's talk about this. This will be an interesting one. So we do not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. That
mhm.
statement, I understand the sentiment behind it. I understand what it's trying to tell us. Oh, there she is. I understand what the point and why we say that, but at the same time, it kind of feels like hey, let's soften the blow. Let's soften the blow to your ego about feeling bad about yourself, or maybe that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like it's I don't know. I think it's just another way of saying I accept the past.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that yeah, do I regret things that I did in the past? Wish I could change them? Yeah, I do. But it doesn't mean that I dwell on them and,
Mhm.
constantly think about, oh, I wish I hadn't done that and things would be different. I accept that those things happened and I move on. But do I wish that I could change them? Absolutely. So am I regretting the past or am I not regretting the past?
Right. Well, see, I take that passage a little bit differently, and
Okay.
I think like people will take it that way because of how it's portrayed through some of the I use the word gatekeepers. But
Okay.
if I read that just as what Bill was trying to say, we don't regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. He said, "Well, no. Now that I said it again out loud, now I'm starting. You've convinced me that maybe that is not as good because I'm looking at it as we don't want to shut the door on it. We want to keep that door open so we don't make the same mistakes before, you know, so we don't forget. I get
Yeah.
that part, but I guess yeah, we don't regret the past. You're right. Yeah, it's saying that we don't regret the past, so it's another way of being proud of the fucking shit. God damn it!
So I mean, it's always
No, you're right.
kind of rubbed
Son of a
me
bitch.
wrong.
No, you're right. I
But
completely had a different
again,
vision of that in my head.
You have to repeat it now so I know what you're talking about.
so
No, I'm just
again,
kidding.
I want to reiterate though that I'm not saying that I don't accept the past. I accept it wholeheartedly. I understand that, shit is the way it is, and I'm working with it and moving past it. But do I wish that I could change those things? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But
you can wish that and know you can't change it.
And
be okay with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Fuck.
So.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. We do not regret the past. Yes, I do.
We'll get some comments stirred up with that one probably, but.
Oh, by the way, hi Lonnie in the comments, buddy. It's good to see you again. Played your intro.
Dude, that was rocking.
Heathen intro. God dang, I rock out every time. I swear to you, Lonnie, that I listen to that thing by myself, just sitting here in the chair and rocking out. So killer shit, man.
That was awesome.
Hi, Lindsay. Welcome.
Hey, I'm just Justin here, just adjusting over here. Just
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're down there now.
So what would you say is your favorite dessert, Lindsay?
It didn't work. What
would you say your favorite dessert is? Klondike bars?
Oh,
is that one of your favorites?
No, I don't even like them. That's the thing. If you do want a history of this, because
you just sleep with them?
Well, my son had his grandma buy them for him, and they brought them to the house. And so I like him to have snacks that I don't like, so that I won't eat them in the middle of the night. But it just so happens that I've resorted to eating the snacks that I don't freaking like because I'm a midnight eater, or the 2-3 a.m. kind of thing. And it's like I fall asleep I used to do M&Ms in my mouth.
Oh my God.
Eat M&Ms and then be like colors all over it's all over my comfort. I showed Scott earlier. It's like the Klondike bars that are not the chocolatey shell. It's like the ones that are like ice cream sandwiches. So I had to just take a shower and wash my hair, and my whole bunch of my hair fell out because of it. It was all over my freaking face. I'm not even joking. People think I'm playing. I got cookies in my bed and shit, man. I have to change my shit all the time, every night. It's a fucking problem. Excuse my language.
No, you're fucking right. And I think that you need to do a 4-step on this.
You can suck my ass.
Figure out what resentments you have.
Did I just say that out loud?
What resentments you have toward this Klondike bar, and the fact that you have snacks that you don't even like in the house.
Yeah, it definitely sounds
hard. It's a real struggle. I'm gonna be honest with you, because
Hi, Dawn. Hi, Dawn.
Where'd you guys go? I was looking in the wrong window. Hey, Dawn. It's a struggle because I've got this food issue in the middle of the night where I gotta eat, and it's like I used to smoke a cigarette in the middle of the night or whatever, and now it's just like I wake up and I go, ooh, I sit up, I run downstairs, back up, and then I'm like,
why don't you just
keep eating it? That's why.
Drink a big glass of water and go back to bed.
You think I'm gonna do that?
You could try it.
No,
I mean,
it's not gonna work. I need sugar. It's certain foods. It used to be peanut butter really bad.
Oh my God. We just in one comment asking if she likes Klondike bars, the chat has now gone to
it's serious though.
Blue M&Ms and Reese's Pieces. I mean, apparently this is something we need to dive into here.
I guess so.
It's common, okay? I've had a lot of clients say that they do it. I'm like, oh my God, me too. And they're like, you do it too? Like it's something like new recovery or something. I'm like, no, it's like I have a book. It's like an actual syndrome. It's not night eating syndrome. I think it's an eating disorder. That's what it sounds like.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyways, so enough about me.
So,
hey, what are you guys up to? What are you guys talking about?
Lots of things. So, I wanted to throw out there, we'll right the ship and get it back onto the recovery train here. So,
you big dog. Sorry.
What do we say to people when they come to us and they say, I just relapsed? What do I do?
You asking
what
me?
Advice do we give people? Yeah, both of you. What are we gonna? Somebody sends you a DM and say, look, I had X amount of time. Let's say it's substantial, whatever that means to you.
Okay.
Because I don't know what that means. But
call your sponsor.
There you go. Okay, so let's talk about that. So call your sponsor. That is often something that you hear when people talk about relapsing. Go talk to your sponsor. So what's pros and cons of that? Anything? All pros? right, Lindsay?
Let Adam. I can't do that.
I mean, I'm gonna have to like pretend that I've done that before because I've never done that. So I mean, I can imagine that there's tons of guilt and shame involved with that. I don't know. I guess it depends on the relationship with your sponsor. Yeah.
Well, so is it? Are you assuming that I'm like an active participant in the program still? If someone says that to me, or like now?
Oh
well, I was halfway joking when I threw that out there, but
no, I know you.
It's something that Scott and I were talking about earlier was sponsors and their role. So,
but let's put that one on a sticky note and stick it to the wall and come back to that one.
We'll put it right there.
So, what would when somebody comes to you and sends a DM? Okay, I guess it has to be separated. Like, is it somebody you know or somebody you don't know? But let's just keep it as general as possible, and you can take it the way that you know. Somebody on X. Now that Lindsay, that your presence is growing quite a bit, and Adam is growing, and I think I'm still growing. We're getting more and more people listening and paying attention to what we're doing. Somebody comes to us and say, "Look, I just relapsed and I have no idea what to do." Go, Lindsay.
Go. Okay, so if it's just like a stranger, this happens a lot. Like at least it was like a couple a day. And so I'd say, well, it depends on how they say it. And I say something like, I show compassion, try to let them know it's okay, and say, well, what happened? You want to talk about it? And see if they feel like it, so that they can have that space to share with me, and that, because a lot of people, they really need to get it out right away to someone. And I think it helps that I'm not all three of us, or, we're online. They don't know us. We don't know them. And they may not have anybody that they feel they don't want to open up with it. So it's like, I think that's why what really makes it important on here on Recovery Posse, part of Twitter in our world, is because there's that, I think it helps reduce the shame by them, we don't know them and they don't know us, but they may have seen us on here and they know that we've done the same thing. We've messed up too. And that's why I want you to come to me, because I've been a relapser. In the beginning, I didn't just put it down and keep going. And so I really believe that I think it's really hard to be one and done, because it's like trial and error, like it's like anything else, like say like riding a bike, I think, right? And so you're doing something new, you don't know how to stop using drugs and alcohol, and you're making the new brain patterns, whatever, right? Structures that we always talk about, and pathways. And it takes time, and it's not just like, if it were that easy, like nobody would need help and it wouldn't be an addiction. You know what I mean? So I think that I like to explain it on here. That's why I really like to bring it up a lot, so that people know, so that they feel comfortable coming to us, and then holding space for them to open up about it if they'd like. Really letting them know, especially if they bring up the time limit. I always need to address that when someone will say to me, hey, I lost 3 years, I lost 10 years, I lost 30 days. It doesn't matter, because any amount of time is significant to each of us. I remember when I'm like, I lost 30 days and it was the biggest thing in the world. And someone said to me, like, that doesn't matter. I'm like, you're full of shit. I didn't understand what I understand now, is that really the days they matter, but they don't matter, because if I'm not sober right now, then I'm not sober. This is all that matters right now, right? So it's like, if I mess up, or if someone messes up, I think it's important to not shame them. If someone were to shame me, which did happen, I instantly turn away. When someone yells at me, I say, go away, fuck off. It's almost as if people that have walked the same path as me, if someone that's walked the same path as me has gone through the similar struggles and gotten sober, then they should know the difficulty and how I feel, you would think, right? And so I would feel like they would have more compassion. But They think there's this dated, it's old school now, like the tough love approach and the old, the old fashioned kind of tough love approach where it's like, hey, fuck you, stop drinking. What do you stop drinking and stop drinking. You don't get drunk by don't having the first drink. It's like we know. We get it. Like, you're not helping. But it's like, I'm gonna go off on a railroad here. I can't.
We'll get to it.
I just like let them know, like, hey, it's okay. I've done it. I've done it a few times. I did it after a year sober. And after a couple days, just get through the first couple days. And I want to always say the time doesn't matter. You didn't lose that time. And it's true. You didn't lose that time that you were there learning things, right? You learned different coping skills, different coping mechanisms. And this is just like trial and error, right? It's not that everybody has it happen. It's just that it happens because it's new. We've never lived life before. So you would say, like, well, how do you know how to live? I don't know. You make mistakes. It's normal. It's part of the learning process. Like, nothing's perfect. That would be weird.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm off.
No, that's good, man. How about you, Adam? I just relapsed, man. What do I do?
First thing that comes to mind for me, I would say, I feel you. I've been there. Are you finished?
Ooh, yeah.
It's like, are you done? You ready to jump back in, or you still got some more that you got to get out? Because to me, the relapse, if it's somebody like you said has a significant amount of time, they kind of understand a little bit about what they've already been through and what they know. If they're hung up on the time issue, I would be kind of similar, reinforcing. It's like, hey, you haven't lost the time. You're just not sober right now. You still have everything that you learned in the last 5 years of sobriety, or the last 90 days of sobriety. And if they say they are, they are ready to go, my next question would be, is like, all right, so what do you got in the house? It's like, let's dump it out and actually clean it out. And then let's think about and do a thinking report and kind of figure out where your head's been the last week or so, and figure out how you got to those feelings that made you want to drink, and what those thoughts were that brought about those feelings, and see if we can back that train back up and get to the underlying root cause there. But compassion, anybody that looks at you cross as soon as you tell them that you've relapsed, you might want to end that conversation. Just like, okay, sorry, I wanted to let you know, I'll talk to you later. If their first, in my opinion, if their first interaction with you is not just out of love and concern and understanding, it's not going to go well. It's not going to be a conversation you enjoy. It's not going to be a conversation you enjoy, period. But it's not going to be a conversation that's helpful, at least not for you. So that's kind of how I would handle it. Is it's like, I'm glad you're telling me this. Are you planning to stop and get back on the train, or are you planning to go back out? As soon as we're off the phone, go right back to the liquor store. So, and it may be that you are wanting to stop, and even if we do get off the phone, you go right back to the liquor store.
Right.
So it's a tough road right there. And it really depends on, like I said, what those feelings were that got you to drink. Is it something that's been bubbling up for a while, or was this a spontaneous reaction, something that just so massively triggered you didn't even think about it, you just reacted? And I almost think that is probably easier to fix than the feelings that have been bubbling, because those feelings that have been bubbling are something that you are aware of, and you think that they're not really bothering you, but they keep adding up and adding up and adding up, and eventually that cork blows. Whereas if somebody touches on something that's really emotionally hurtful for you and it hits you right away, you probably didn't realize that that was an issue. And that's something that we can work on right away and start putting some corrections around, some different thinking and some different, thought patterns around. But that's kind of what I think about. But like I said, I don't work with I don't work with people like you guys do. So
Doesn't matter. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you're working with them right now, dude.
Yeah, what are you
that's
talking
true.
about?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you, Scott?
Oh, I mean,
Too much.
I definitely, I would say, well, clearly you aren't ready, and
Yeah, right.
I would say, you clearly
Read
you didn't
it
do the
again.
work, and
164 pages.
you'll hit bottom when you stop digging, and all these helpful things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that's what people need, especially from strangers on the internet.
Right. When you're in a hole, stop digging.
Well, when you were talking about dumping out, and obviously I'm being facetious on all that crap. So, but when you were talking about dumping out alcohol, there were times in that month. I always talk about that month in between when I first put myself into treatment on my own, in between that and the third one. And my brother, who I barely talked to ever, same mom. So what is that? Half brother? Anyway, it doesn't matter. He came over. I don't remember what the reasoning was for him coming over, and his wife came over, and one of their kids were there. And I wanted to stop. And I told them, about, what was going on. And I told them where all my bottles were. And his wife and their kid went around up in my room, digging through my room, and found so many damn bottles and dumped out all my liquor. And while they were there, I wanted them to do that.
Yeah.
Because I had a connection and I was connecting with people and I wanted it to be over. But the moment they left,
Yep.
I had to go get more liquor because that connection was gone now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good point.
The point of this is my brother isn't a stranger, obviously, but his birthday is December 14th, 1985. I know that, but I don't know anything about him, what he does for fun. I don't know what his hobbies are. So that's the kind of relationship we had. But him coming over, and I know his wife even less. They came over and they swam in the pool one time here at Miley and I, but I don't know them. But they were there for me. And even that little bit of connection was enough to make me want to quit in that moment. Right? So why in the fuck would I talk down and be condescending to anybody that's asking for help that I don't know? I mean, I guess you could justify my family saying, listen, dumbass, get your shit together, because they know me, I guess, and they can show me the tough love. But when somebody comes to me and asks me for something, they're going to get nothing but the positivity that I needed in that moment. That's what I'm giving other people, right?
Yep.
And that's why I talk about what I talk about on my posts. And you're trying to start a fire. Well, yeah, sometimes I am, because if I could have seen some of these posts and heard some of these things that I'm talking about and tried to bring awareness to, then maybe things will have been different. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, so somebody DMs me and says, hey, I just relapsed. I'm going to say the same thing that you both said. That time is not gone. Right. And anybody that tells you that time is gone I don't know what they're trying to get at or what they're trying.
Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah, because
got excited.
When I was at treatment and I had 90 some days, I think it was right around 90 days. And I went home for the weekend and I drank and I relapsed and I had to go back and tell everybody. And I started over again. I was still living in sober living. They didn't kick me out. And so 30 days came up again and I had to go get another 30-day chip, because that's what you did there. It was a 12-step program. Those 30 days and getting that chip made me sick to my stomach, because I felt like I was starting all over again.
Yeah.
And nobody there was going to tell me anything different. That's what you do. You're starting all over again, starting from day one all over again. I just spent 180 some odd days there. Well, probably was more like 150 before I relapsed, of not drinking and living the best life that I'd lived in a long time. And you're telling me that was all for nothing. All that work and all that time that I put in was for nothing, and I'm now starting all over again. What a crushing thing to do to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Well, you know that's what happened to me after like 3.5 years sober. I know I bring it up a lot, but it's because it's such a significant part of my story that. Can you hear me, dude? I don't think.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, the lights were.
No, you're loud and clear.
Okay. So like 3.5 years, and I was an intern counselor. I was like, I thought I knew everything. Ego. And I was like, Mrs. AA, whatever. So I thought I was somebody, right? The couple years I hadn't had shit happen yet. And when I relapsed, I convinced myself I could drink moderately again, like somehow after prison and like all these crazy things have happened.
Of course.
Yeah, there's like no telling. There's like not strong enough evidence in front of me to make me believe that my life is unmanageable if I am not ready to see it, right? Or if I'm not willing to look at it objectively. And I said, I instantly regretted it as soon as I picked up the drink. And then I was like, oh, the pills. And my mind, I don't want to say like this nasty, but like instantly I felt like my junkie mind came back. Like because it was like the I gotta go do this, like the hustle is back. And I'm like, all right, deuces, like peace, everybody. Like I'm going to, I'm doing my thing, like fuck off. And yeah, that's what I kept doing it. I remember saying like, I'm not going to use this, forget this relapse. I wasted 3.5 years. I got to go hard. I'm not going to waste this relapse is literally what I said. And that is crazy. You know how many times I said that? I was like, I got to go hard.
So,
hey, burn the fire. We might as well burn it down, right?
Yeah, burn the whole house.
Yeah.
Duh.
And I can totally relate to that, but was it that did you think that way because something inside you was triggered so much by a drink, or was that thought process triggered because it's like, well, I just wasted all that, so fuck it, why not?
Well, yeah, it was. I was instantly regretful that I picked back up. I was like, I just wasted this time. I worked so hard. I'm a freaking loser and I'm a failure. And so there's no sense. Yeah. I have 0 days. I'm not going back. Not yet. I'm going to really fuck my shit up and then maybe I can go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
A year later.
And that's terrifying because I think I thought that way too. That's why I went all, literally balls to the walls and was basically trying to kill myself for a month.
It was the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
Worst freaking.
When maybe if we would approach these things differently and let people know that life happens, because now I look back, right? 2 years and a few months would be from the sobriety date that I chose. But if I look back at it and I got 10, I can count on less than two hands how many times I've drank in the last 2.5 years. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this guy.
Faux show.
That is unreal. And if that's not recovery, then I don't, somebody wants to argue with me on that, then, I will gladly have that argument because 10 times in 2.5 years or less than 10 times in 2.5 years for a guy that was a fifth minimum a day drinker for years and years and years.
Yeah.
That's improvement. That's winning the game. Is it the smartest thing that I've done to go back and do those things? No. Is it playing a dangerous game? Yes. Did one of those times that I drank lead to OWI number 4? Yes. So evidence would strongly suggest that me drinking is never a good idea. However, I bounced back from every single one of those to put way more time in recovery than drinking than I was before. I've made a change in my life, period.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I put Brian's up there. Clean date and recovery time are completely different things. I agree with that 100%. The last time I can write that down on a piece of paper. The last time that I used is this date, but I've been in recovery for, like I just said, 2.5 years. I've been actively working to be better and giving up alcohol and keeping it out of my life.
True.
So I had two thoughts while y'all were talking. Lindsay, you said something about your junkie mind came back, which is a perfect example of how those neural pathways are still there.
Yeah. Excuse
It's
the
not
junkie.
active.
Right. Sorry.
It's just as soon as you gave them something to latch onto, they're like, "Hey, we're here. Don't forget about us."
Yeah.
So that's completely accurate.
It's like
Completely
people
accurate.
do.
So,
Look, Adam.
the identity idea. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And then Scott, you said something right at the end, and now I've forgotten about it.
Sorry.
You finished up with talking about clean date, sober date.
Active. I was active.
So recovery. So recovery.
Yeah.
So to me, this is another one of those situations where words really have meaning, right? So we like to collectively the 12-step community likes to call addiction a disease and compare it to other diseases. So when a cancer patient is in recovery, if the cancer comes back, they don't automatically, it's not like, hey, I got cancer again. It's like, damn it, what's it called? Recurrence. Remission's when it goes away.
Yeah.
It's in remission. So my addiction's in remission, and then it came back. So I don't know. I was thinking about that, how we like to pick and choose words and assign them slightly different meanings based off the context instead of using the actual meaning. But
yeah,
I think that, again, that's part of the reason why it's so hard and difficult to talk about addiction and sobriety and recovery, because we take words that mean certain things in certain areas and give them a slightly different meaning when we're talking about alcohol and drugs.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's hard to even talk about universal terms and words, which I do struggle with, because I think we talked about this earlier, didn't we, Scott? Or maybe it was yesterday, to where like I have that mind of like the disease model in my head and what I was conditioned with when I got sober 10 years ago. And then I have over here everything I've learned since, plus, I mean, obviously, I don't know how to explain it. Okay. Let's just say that. But I have like both of these minds, and they kind of go back and forth, and they intermingle, and I try to make a universal truth out of both of them, and it's really hard sometimes. So I don't know what I'm saying, but basically that's my struggle. And so I just try to tailor. That's why I say like it's different for everybody, because there's so many things that I can take and help somebody with in one particular area, or like mixed, or like from over here. And so it's hard. That's why when people start saying like, I know the answer, and I used to hate it, addiction counselors, like, because I wasn't one yet. So I was like jelly, but like, I'd be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, how do you know? Everybody's different. And like, I would just be such a dick, but I get it now. Like, that's the point. There is no specific way. And I think that's fucked up when someone says this is the only way, and it shows ignorance.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
So a couple nights ago, I brought up, you can't say that one way works for everybody, because there are so many variables that go into why you use that you don't even realize are there, let alone someone who's trying to help you.
Yes.
So the person who's helping you has to be familiar with as many variables as possible in order to kind of see which ones are affecting you.
Yeah.
And so if you've got, 15 of unknown amount of variables working against you, and that's why you're drinking, and the person helping you doesn't know what those 15 variables are, it's like, we're just throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. And to me, that's kind of what, going down the road, to me, that's what AA does. Like, hey, Everybody go down this one. Yeah, but my shit doesn't fit over there. Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to make it fit.
Yeah.
That's why my own personal sobriety, I went for the underlying principles of a whole handful of different ways of sobriety and recovery, and figured out kind of what worked based on a principle, a first principles style thinking. So anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
look. We say recurrence at my addiction treatment center I work at instead of relapse. It's more client centered.
Okay.
Good.
I like it. Well, and those words might help somebody else. That's why you have to have other options to the verbiage you use, right? Like when you're talking, a client comes in, I try to get a sense of where their head's at, so that, when they start talking like, oh, I went to a meeting last night, I'm looking for a sponsor. Okay, I'm going to talk a big book with them because I can do that.
Oops.
Right. If I get somebody that's like, oh, I can't stand, we have a place around here called The Cabin, and they have like 1 million AA meetings a day. Can't stand go to The Cabin, and I can't stand these old guys and their same stories and the same stuff over and over again. Then I can, okay. And then I get a vibe on, if they're not feeling AA, then I go a different way with them.
That's right.
Because everybody's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, we talk about how everybody's different, right? Like not everybody's wife leaves them or husband leaves them when they're in addiction. So that's different. Not everybody loses their kids in addiction. So that's different. Not everybody loses their job in addiction. That's different. And that's just to name a few. What makes everything worse is you get people that are put into the court systems, and the court system is constantly beating people over the head saying, you make bad decisions. You are a bad person, and this is your fault. Then you try to go get in the rooms of AA or any other treatment. No. This is an illness, or in AA terms, it's a disease. It's conflicting as fuck all the way around from start to finish. So this is, Adam's right, it is a hard topic to talk about, because there's no one way to go at this thing. And I think, and what I appreciate the three of us that we do, is we try to make that widely known that if one thing isn't working for you, that's okay. Something else might work for you.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
I want to talk about, I want to tell you guys about person-centered or client-centered therapy, and using client-centered language is what we say, where I work. And that's kind of how that's stuff that I didn't learn when I started school, and I didn't learn in the rooms, and I didn't learn in treatment center. It's so much more effective when talking to someone and helping someone, when it's so like client-centered would be recurrence over relapse. It's because of the power of words, like Adam always talks about. It's so important that, that's why when I said junkie, I meant like when I was in that state of mind, that's what I referred to myself as. Now I think that is, I will never say that about myself. Even in recovery in the beginning, I would say I'm just the next junkie. And it's like, no, my subconscious hears that as no bueno. And, we like to talk about this a lot here because it's, like Adam said, words are powerful. And you really had me focusing on that ever since that we talked about that, Adam. So congruence is another concept of person-centered therapy. It's like the therapist is genuine with their interactions with the client. So authenticity, right, Scott? Empathy. The therapist endeavors to understand the client's point of view and see things from their perspective. So we're meeting them where they're at. That's client-centered therapy. And then unconditional positive regard, which just means, so it's like, we don't give advice as a helper, like a therapist, a counselor, a peer, right? We don't give advice per se. We give non-judgmental. We help the other person, the client, the friend, the sponsee, be able to meet us here. I'm going to meet you where you're at. And, I'm going to hold space for you to be able to, challenge your own establish your goals, challenge your own beliefs. I can help you for you to mirror your own beliefs, right? And to pull them out of you and to see. But what we don't do is we don't say this is what you should do ever. That is very counter-effective and a big no-no in any therapy field. And so this is what my problem is. And it's so hard for me to explain it all the time because I just get flustered. But this is why I don't enjoy the bullshit, tough love of like, well, they need to hear it. I'm saving their life. No. Psychology says no, says you're wrong. Basic psychology says you're wrong. Do not do that. Do not shove stuff down people's throat. That is not how you That's not how you help. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying it's just so important. And I think that that's where the battle is at for us a lot of times, because people will not understand if, like, when I say that to someone, like, oh, fuck off. That's the response we get, right? What do you guys think about that?
I think I'm going to hurt my neck shaking it, my head so vigorously in agreement.
So, two things. Brian is absolutely right. I think we have beat that horse like crazy all the time.
Like the analogy or
who did that, man? Who keeps switching it on me? But no, Lindsay,
that was him.
Now you're touching the mouse.
I did.
Lindsay is absolutely just illustrated exactly the next topic that Scott and I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah,
which is jumping into sponsors.
Ooh.
Because you just perfectly pointed out all the reasons that I'm against sponsorship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As it's done in the rooms.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that every sponsor is bad. I'm not saying that sponsorship in itself of it is a bad thing. But
you got to clarify that always.
That many sponsors will sit there and tell you what to do. You should do this. You could have done that. Why didn't you do this? Do it this way, instead of having you think and understand and do everything you just talked about from the psychological perspective. But at the same time, just from a leadership perspective, if you want someone to learn and grow, you don't give them the answers.
Yes.
You teach them how to think.
Right.
And so your job to me as a sponsor is to lead someone into learning how to think from a sober mind, not tell them what to think.
They're not taught that, though.
I know.
That's what's the problem.
And so Scott's question was,
is he okay? Are you
I'm
okay?
gonna read it.
You gonna fart or burst? He's gonna fart. Are you okay?
So Scott's statement to me was, sponsors are not professionals. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, my stance is sponsors should not pretend to be professionals. And I was like, hey, right. Absolutely.
Yeah, they do. A lot of them do. And I would have clients come to me and be like, they told me that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, don't listen to them. Sorry.
So jump in there.
High five.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this because Lindsay has a bunch of listeners that haven't got to hear me speak before. So I'm going to indulge them in what I'm saying. First of all, the sponsorship thing is not in the 164 pages of the big book at all. It just says work with somebody else. It doesn't say sponsorship specifically at all. Sponsorship began when the hospitals were being overrun with alcoholics who were just coming in and repeating the cycle, and they didn't want to treat them. So at one point, they had to have somebody come in and sponsor them to get treated, for their hangovers and their withdrawals. Somebody vouching for them that they're coming in and they're serious about this. That's where sponsorship started off, first and foremost. Secondly, let me tell you two brief stories about my experiences with sponsors. And this will give all that's going to happen here for the people that don't want to hear this is going to hear me say, oh, well, you just had two bad experiences. That's why you don't like it. So I already know that's coming. But the fact that I had two bad experiences, and one was kind of bad and the other one was horrible. Okay. So the first one, I did my fourth, no, it's all good. When I did my fourth step with my first one, I was on a Zoom call with this dude for like 4 or 6 hours. We had to take a break. Okay.
No.
And when I went through and I aired all my dirty laundry to this guy that I'd only known for a short amount of time. By the end of it, every single thing that I did in my life and every resentment that I had, it all boiled down to one thing. You know what that one thing was?
What? You're a piece of shit?
No.
Oh.
Fear.
Oh, yeah.
It was all fear, according to this guy. Everything that I did or didn't do was fear. That was his grand summary of the trauma and the things that I went through. It was fear. I did these things to these people out of fear. Fear. And maybe to some extent, in some areas, that might have been true. But that, after spending 4 to 6 hours, is what I got from it. Needless to say, I did not stay sober, and I didn't feel good about that at all. You know why I felt good about that? Because Miley seen me sit in front of a computer for 4 to 6 hours with this guy and talk. And then I went up to the grill and I burnt my 4-step. And she took a picture of it because it was like a ceremonial thing.
Yeah.
That's what made me feel good, because I was doing something that was showing that I was trying, even though I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, and it did nothing for me.
Right.
So that's what the only thing that felt good about it. It was unproductive as all hell. Now, the second sponsor was like a brother to me. We met every single night, even when I was drinking. And I'll make this brief because it's not.
No, take your time.
But we talked every single night. I would be drinking. He even got to the point where he was talking to my grandmother. He was talking to Miley. He was even had a conversation with my mom when I was trying to help her when I was in treatment. You know, I thought this guy had my back and he was my boy. You know what I mean? I thought he was my boy. Well, it should have been a red flag when he would just make perverted jokes all the time to the 2 females that were in the Zoom group with us, and they ended up leaving.
What?
But I didn't really. I thought, you know what? He's just an old man, and that's what old men do sometimes. So anyway, turns out, and I've reached out to this guy several times, even up until I think a week ago. I sent him a message on Facebook trying to talk to him to try to iron this thing out, because I'm deeply cut by this. You know, he had me convinced when I went up to Petoskey, which is about 2.5 hours from my house, that I needed to leave everybody here behind. And it was the only way that I was going to beat alcoholism. I couldn't stay around here for my kids. I couldn't be close here to Miley. I couldn't be close to my grandma, who was like 96, 97 at the time. I had to completely upplant myself and start a brand new life up there. So I did that. I went to treatment, and then I went to sober living. I got a job up there, and then I went from working at Dunham's up there, which is a sporting goods store, if you don't have them in your area. And then I don't know where Dunham's are, but then I got a job at a treatment center, and my whole plan was I'm looking for a place to stay, a place to live. Well, during this process, I was still talking to him every night, and then one day I had a conversation with Miley, and I don't remember exactly how things go because it's one of those times where you're seeing red. So I'd ask her about this text message she had sent me as I was walking into the treatment center, the same treatment center in the same year, for the second time. And it's like she said something about being disgusted by something that I had done or said. And I remember reading that as I was walking in, and my phone was taken shortly after that, and I never got. So I spent all of that time dwelling on this. And my last day before I left treatment, my sponsor read me the text message because she sent it to him too. And he read it to me right before I was leaving into sober living. And he read me this text message, and it was, it was very hurtful. And I remember getting off the Zoom call with him, and I couldn't make it through the AA meeting that I was running in treatment that time. I was crying, and I could barely make it through it. And if it wasn't for the dudes in there giving me hugs and work and support, I don't know what would have happened. Anyway, so this sponsor, this guy that I put my livelihood in his hands, had told Miley that I was offering sexual favors to women for alcohol. Now, as I've told this story several times, I was extremely drunk, and that wasn't out of the realm of possibility in my mind because I was very, very, very drunk a lot. And I'm like, oh my God, who did I say this to? What did I do? So I started going through my phone. I didn't see any evidence of this. I started asking the very few females that I talked to. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Did I say something? And I reached out to my sponsor and I said, hey, this is what you told Miley. I would like to know what I said and who I said it to, because I would like to make amends for this action because I feel terrible about this. Okay, we'll talk later. And that talk never happened. So the only conclusion that I can draw is that this guy took it into his own hands to fabricate something, because he kept telling me, and I love Miley with all my heart, still do. She was the problem for me, and I needed to get away from her. And I listened to this guy, and I moved. I was already 45 minutes away from my kids. Now I added another 2.5 hours from my kids. And I was going to do this because of this guy's suggestions, right? And he can't even respond to me and tell me what it was all about. That only tells me that there was no truth to it. And he was making a decision for me because it was what he thought was best for me. That's the danger. And you don't hear a lot of these stories about this stuff, but it does happen. I've heard a few of bad sponsors in thinking that they are something that they're not. And I would love for him to hear this. And I would love for him to reach out so we can hash it out, because I don't believe that I did that, because there was nobody for me to do that to. I was a sloppy, nasty ass drunk. You know what I mean? I mean, I could send a text to anybody, but the fact that he won't respond just says a lot about him. And so that cut me so deep. I'm not blaming him for my fourth OWI or my fourth relapse, or that relapse that got me to that, but that certainly didn't help matters, because it was one person that I could count on, or thought I could, for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden, he completely and totally betrayed me, just like my mom did, just like I thought my dad did. You know what I mean? And he was not way older than me, I'm 20 years older than me probably, but he completely betrayed me. And so pick your sponsors very, very, very carefully. And don't give them power over you. If somebody tells you that you need to call somebody to ask for every decision you need to make, red flag and get the fuck out of there.
Good point.
All right. That's part of my story.
Many people have had stories that have had sponsors that have done stuff like them, and that's why that makes me sad.
Well, and what he did has no reflection on how I feel about AA.
Of course.
I've said it before, and I will say it again. I love the program as it's written in the book. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good for when it was written, and it's a good starting point. If you got to start somewhere. Yeah, it's a good starting point.
True. Very true.
I agree. It's a good starting point to get your head going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's
I just personally feel that there's much more to keep going into, and they stop way too soon.
Sure.
Yeah. My sponsor relapsed. I actually just had a friend, her sponsor just relapsed. And it happens because we're humans and we're trying to get sober, but it's very difficult when that happens. And yeah, I remember my sponsor called me. I was at work at a treatment center. I had a few years clean. She was like a mom figure, really close to me. And she calls me crying on her way to rehab or detox. And she had like 8-9 years sober and relapse. And it's like, this has happened to people more than I can even count or like heard. But the thing is, it's like, they're just people. And so what really bothers me is when I don't know what I've concluded thus far is that it is ego and the need to feel superior or like a good person. I don't know what it is, but maybe you can tell me that they want the sponsee that they learn from everyone else, because what is it? Call me once a day. It's the same bullshit that everybody says, but there's no reason for it. They will say there's a reason for it. It's not in the big book. It's not like things are so inconsistent, and I could go on for days about it. And I got sober in AA and I loved it. But and I hope that whoever likes it uses it to get sober and stay sober, whatever. I'm just saying that I'm allowed to talk about things that I see, that we are all allowed to talk about it. Trying to be careful with my words, because, this might benefit someone else that thinks the same thing, that is maybe scared to come and say it, like, hey, is it just me, or is it a sponsor should not be your financial advisor? They are not your therapists. They are not trained in any way. They could be any Tom, Dick, or Harry. In fact, they are. The only qualification of sorts is that they have, by their own word, gone through the steps of AA with supposedly a sponsor, which, so you're taking their word for it that they have, and you hear them talk in meetings. People can talk the talk and not walk the walk. And I've seen it more times than I fucking can explain to anybody.
Think about how many people you fooled in your addiction that you weren't using or whatever. So it's not like we don't have practice at fooling people, right? And especially when people walk in the doors and they're vulnerable. And now I've seen clients come in where judges are telling them they have to get a sponsor in order to advance in their program. How fucking dangerous is that? Okay, sorry.
It's like giving power over.
Yes.
Like, because they say, like, well, and the thing is, like, your situation of when, like, someone's saying something about a relationship, that has happened so many times. I mean, I love my old sponsor, but she was just, it was like almost like a parent figure saying, like, you know, and I thought that that's what it's supposed to be. It's like, she's like, don't hang out with them. Don't do this. Don't do that. And it's like, I don't know. Their job is to take you through the steps according to AA. This is not what I believe. This is what supposedly, right? Like they're your supervisor, right?
Yep.
That's it. They're supposed to bring you closer to God, theoretically, or whatever the fuck.
Something. So yeah. So I try not to give suggestions, but I think Fan Kid's mom says, would it be wiser to have more than one person in a sponsor role? I think if you cut off that question at would it be wiser to have more than one person ? That's the right question, because for me, I have a friend to talk to about this. I have Miley to talk about most things, but the things I can't talk to her, I have somebody else to talk to. It's just, that's how it works for me. And you got to think about the sponsorship thing, man. How long do you wait to ask to get a sponsor when you're in the rooms? You know what I mean? Like it's not very long, right? And then you have this person and you go to lunch or something maybe, and you have some phone calls. Sure, they're an unbiased, well, they're supposed to be an unbiased person, but they're already biased because they think that you need to do, not all of them, okay? I just heard somebody in their mind, their eyes roll in the back of their head, like somewhere out in the social media. Yeah, not all of them. There are some people that swear by their sponsor and their sponsor did a great job for them. I fucking understand that.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, if you are so broken, if you are told you are so broken that your best thinking got you into the rooms and you can't trust your own thoughts because of the addiction you have, and your best option is to talk to somebody else that is the same way or thinking the same way as you, what sense does that make?
First thought wrong. Meow. Scott, you're getting me too well.
Brother.
Agreed. I mean,
you gotta stop getting me excited.
I could continue to go off on why it's bad, but I don't want to make it an AA bashing thing. To readdress this one, so so I remember very vividly, probably 5 or 6 meetings where this question got asked, and the answer was always, and this was just like a red flag to me, and I was like, I'm not going to be asking you, the person answering this question, to be my sponsor, because the answer was always no. You cannot have more than one sponsor, because then all you'll do is try to get permission from somebody else, because your first sponsor won't give you permission. So you go ask your second sponsor. And I was like, wait a second. I'm not asking any of you motherfuckers for permission for any damn thing. Like, that's not what your job is.
You damn.
You have to take me through the steps.
I think it is, though.
I had the same experience. That's why I'm laughing, because this is like, it's fucking crazy.
So that to me, that was like a red flag. I was like, okay, I know enough about how people think. I was like, you got ego problems. I'm not talking to you.
It's almost like you can't trust, you're bad, and it's like perpetuating the stigma of addiction that you're bad or it's a moral failing. If we keep saying these things like first thought wrong, and you need to go to a meeting, your thinking's not right. I have a thinking problem, a thinking disease. I have all these things really bother me. And then it's like, you aren't trusted. You can't trust yourself. And that's what was so hard for me to leave. I felt like I was leaving a blank.
Well, and you just said it right there to me, which is my number one gripe with the program is when somebody says, I need to go to a meeting, automatically tells me, it's like, sorry, you are not fucking sober.
That's not okay.
Right? You may not be drinking, but if you need a meeting to stay sober, then there is more work to do that you are not doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're 30 days in, 60 days in, that's a little bit different.
Right.
When you see these people that have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20 years, I need a meeting. I'm like, okay. Tell me what I need to know.
What work have you done on yourself then? How are you? You're supposed to change your identity. This is not a Band-Aid program.
Yeah.
You guys are really fucked up over here.
Not supposed to be a Band-Aid program.
That's what I meant.
Well, so let's also, well, they got some good comments too. Yeah, the dad says, go ask your mom, right?
Yeah, that's what the divorced parents. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me read this one. Yeah, I have multiple people. Like, people are like, do you have a sponsor? I'm like, I have many people, a shit ton, because I am not putting my trust in any one person ever.
Yeah, it's like, I have parents, I have good friends I trust, and I have a therapist.
It's like the blind counselor. Yeah. We adore you. Go ahead.
Love you too. So I want to put this out there because of the comments that we make, and they might be watching right now. But this person, and I won't say who it is, but they posted today, why do people feel it's necessary to diminish the success of AA? And what we're doing isn't diminishing. We're having a discussion. We're talking about what we think works and what doesn't work, the same as you would in a meeting, right? And one of the responses, I thought one of the responses to this guy's question says a lot about it, the program, okay? And this guy too, by his picture and his name, is a priest, okay? So the first thing he said, he gave 3 reasons why people diminish AA, okay? And the first one is they have a problem that it is a spiritual program. I don't know what that means. I don't know. It's a spiritual program. I hear that and I still don't understand what that means. They're acting like this is some sort of like, I don't know, your kumbaya moment that happens when you go to a meeting or work the steps. It never happened to me, and I've done the steps several times.
Yeah.
The second reason, what's that?
I said, yeah, the steps really, in my opinion, no.
Well, and so the reason why you feel that way, Adam, is his number 2 reason. It's because they failed because they haven't thoroughly followed the steps. So therefore, they think it couldn't be their fault. So they blame the program.
Yeah.
That's every one on there, isn't that? Isn't that every answer on there?
It's this. Doesn't that sound like an abusive relationship? Like, well, this isn't working for me. Well, that's because it's all you.
You're not trying hard enough.
You're not doing it right. You're not treating me right. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Isn't that an easy cop out?
It's because you're not doing it right.
Tell me that I didn't try the AA program. You're
constitutionally incapable of being honest. That is a fucking dirty ass. And then the denial thing, that is culty.
Yeah, they are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, that right there, that phrase, I hate, because that is setting somebody up to start telling themselves a lie to believe so that they will make you feel better, so that you can find a lie to be honest about. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're constitutionally incapable of being honest with yourself. So you have not found the truth that you are hiding.
You're a liar.
So you need to go and find that. And so then you're going to go find something and start to believe it so that then you can confess it.
Right. Or else there's something wrong with you.
Beliefs, thoughts, feelings, actions. So.
Look.
Going, I like this.
Look,
people going.
This isn't diminishing it. It is finding things that could be explained a little better. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just like,
Read my response.
well,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just get really excited about this, and like when I mean excited, I don't mean excited. I mean like annoyed.
no, I'm just
not at you. What?
I said adrenaline.
What's happening right now?
I don't know.
I'm just going through trying to find your response now.
Oh.
He ain't wrong, baby. You like that?
That was very weird sounding coming through my speakers.
That's rude as fuck.
Oh yeah. So I mean, a friend of mine came over yesterday and we were talking about this, and it was just so one of the big things in AA is find the person, find the sponsor, find the person in there who has got what you want and ask them to be your sponsor. And there's not a single person I ever found in a meeting that had the kind of sobriety I wanted. I tried with people, but I saw how they were sober and what they had to do to stay sober. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to stay sober somewhere else. Oh, you can't do it anyway else. Like, because I've met other people who are outside of the program who started in the program and got sober and then left the program. And when I ask them which meetings they go to, so I can go to those meetings as well, they say, oh, well, I don't really do an AA anymore. I'm just sober now. It's like, okay, that's what I want. We follow you. So anyway.
Yeah, I never found that either, but I got my. Really?
That's my dog.
That's your dog? I mean, I hope he's being facetious because. Okay.
He is.
It's like, I don't.
Believe me.
I was an atheist going through there, and I wasn't ever hurt by the higher power thing. I was fully capable of using the rooms, the fellowship, and the universe as a power greater than me when I could. But
you are my dog too. Ivermectin is my modulation. All right, I gotta stop.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
It's getting late, man. It's
the 5-hour energy's kicking in.
Because I was dragging ass, man. And then I was like, I gotta drink this because they're bugging me. They're harassing me to do a live stream. I'm just kidding. Whatever, ivermectin. Thought we were
AA, a lot of people feel AA is uncomfortably similar to many religious structures, and some reasons some people fell into addiction is because of mistreatment in religious structures. I agree with that 100%. It's the same. It's got the same setup. If this religion doesn't work for you, it's because you didn't pray hard enough. If this religion doesn't work for you, you're intentionally ignoring the signs that God has given to you. If it's not working for you, you're not working hard enough.
Good point.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And that's why I struggled, because I remember going to church and hearing ridiculous things. And I ask questions and whatever, but that's irrelevant. That's neither here nor there. But it's set up the same way. It's never the religion or the teachings of the pastor or the teaching of the big book's fault. It's never that for some people.
We need to answer that.
Yeah.
70-something% of rehabs, you do use the 12-step model. It's not bad. It's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. It's really good, especially if you're just starting out. It's really, really good.
I needed it when I started for years.
Yes.
Well, and here's the most important and beneficial part of rehab, in my opinion, is that you're getting like a guaranteed 30 days clean.
Yes.
And that is enough to start getting your brain back online into thinking without a substance. It's going to be foggy for quite a few weeks. And then right about the time it's time to leave is about the time you start going like, damn, I feel like I'm clear-headed, which is then when you've got to knuckle down and get ready for life. Because I'll be honest with you, AA rehab is, I didn't fucking mind going to rehab because I didn't have to you don't have to do anything. I mean, you have to do shit all day, but you don't have responsibilities. You know, it's like you walk down and eat breakfast, you come back, you go to class, you make your bed, you do your laundry, walk down for lunch, go outside, do whatever, have some classes.
It's definitely great to get the fog out, that's for sure. And you can get that 30 days or more, do it. But the only from my experience,
set up some new habits, you know, make it a habit to get up early, go outside, go for a walk before breakfast so that you can continue that habit once you get out of rehab and get yourself some physical activity. And the routine of rehab, if you can carry the routine of getting up, doing something, making your bed, having breakfast, doing some type of quiet time, doing something, whatever it is, the routine is one of the best things you can take away from rehab.
And the physical separation.
Continuing that forward. Yeah, and the separation from all the shit that you were.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're in there except for digging and diving into you.
Yeah.
And that's what I suggest doing. As deep and as hard as you can get in there. Wow, that sounded really bad, but that's what you do. And then the danger is to not have a good plan when you get out, because it's really easy to get out of there and be like, "Ooh, all right, I'm feeling the best." I remember when I got out of my first treatment, I walked into Meijer and I had a pink shirt on that's cut off sleeves. I lost a bunch of weight. I had a pink headband around my head. I'm strolling through the grocery store like, dude, I'm fucking free. I haven't felt this good in years. And then, because I stopped doing what I was doing in treatment, which wasn't really that much. That treatment sucked. But the dry out is good. Talk with a recovery coach. Talk with your therapist. Talk with what's other people, Lindsay? Case manager. Case manager. Get a case manager and get a plan for outpatient when you get out of there.
Yeah. The thing is, me and Scott have worked at many, well, you worked at a couple or one treatment center for, right? Or one or two?
Yeah, I'm at my second one now, yeah.
So inpatient, I've worked at 6 inpatient ones, all AA based or 12-step, but that means that not everybody had to do that. So that's cool. That's what we're trying to get at, is like to be where any kind of structure or organization, I think there's always going to be things that we need to just look out for, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I would highly suggest when you check in and go through intake, tell them that you want a counselor who is CBT based, unless they tell you you're doing DBT. But
they'll say they all are, though. They don't give a. They'll say, because it's the most common type. But yeah, make sure. I promise that it's going to be okay if you go to one like that. The structure will definitely help.
Yep.
And especially if you need detox, it's going to be the best bet to get
yes.
fog.
Do it.
That's why I feel bad. Like, so we're not trying to talk bad about that as a whole. How do I explain this? Because we're not trying to talk bad and say it's bad. There's just things that, like within any, I mean, just like the government, like with any kind of organization and the structure of things, that I want people to be more aware of, so that they don't, just like, I wish I would have known what to look for in a sponsor, you know, or I wish I would have known that like things that maybe I need to look at people more closely to see how they walk and not how they talk. Like, that's what I think the advantages of us doing this. And it's not to put it down, because that's what helped me save my life was AA. And I just don't do it anymore religiously like I did. And the thing is, though, whatever you can do it. Whatever you can do to get sober, do it. Nobody's the same.
And I think that what we try to do here, and somebody in the comments will surely let us know if, hopefully, I don't think any of us are saying you need to do this or don't do that. I don't think that's ever came out of our mouths. I think we're just sharing our experience and what we've learned along this road, where we might be a little farther down a pathway than somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't come on here trying to act like I know anything, because I know nothing, especially about what you're going through. I have no fucking clue.
That's the best. Yeah, that's
Right.
the point right there.
Yeah.
I
But
don't.
I can tell you what works for me, and you can try it or not, and that's up to you. And that's all I can do, and that's why I'm here.
Different set of variables.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't want anybody that starts to tell me like I have the answers and I know what to do. Like, that is sketchy.
That's dangerous thinking, Lindsay.
They're trying to trap my ass.
That's the substance talking. Very
Oh,
suspicious.
okay, I have to say the denial thing. I don't like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's like I'm gonna get going, man. You know why?
Denial of what? What are we talking about?
Me.
Denial of what?
Denial. When people say like you're just in denial of your disease so that you think that you don't need to go to a meeting every day, or you think that you don't need to do this because you're in fucking denial, you're dumb. I mean, that's not what they're saying, but I feel like it's a tactic to say like, well, you know, it's like when people gaslight you and say, you know, like, well, you're acting a little crazy. You know, the characteristics of your problem is that you are in denial, so you can't trust your own thinking. Trust me.
Yeah, and people will convince you that that's a forever fucking thing, right?
Yeah. What does it sound like? I mean, it's just like, you know, I mean, God damn you guys.
No, that's good shit, Lindsay. And then just leads into what Adam and I talked about, I think the other night, or the three of us always try to say, if the end game is forever to be in treatment for this thing, then that's not winning. That's not winning in my part. Now, treatment doesn't mean you can't have a therapist for a long time in your life, but I'm talking addiction. Yeah, I'm talking for addiction specifically. To wake up and be like, oh my God, what do I got to do today to not drink?
Yeah,
oh my God,
that right there. Somebody that goes through life thinking that every day, you are not free.
Mm-mm.
You are not free from the alcohol. You are giving alcohol just as much energy in trying to avoid it as you were when you were drinking it. That's not freedom.
No, that's not. I mean, I'm not going to put any more labels on it, but it certainly is not freedom. That I can say with some certainty. That is not freedom from the addiction.
No. It's positive attention versus negative attention. I'm either doing it or I'm trying to prevent it. I don't want to do either.
Yes.
I just want no attention.
Right. Fan Kid's mom says that they may need to start out that way. That's what we're saying. But we're talking.
It may need to start out that way. Exactly. And that's why, to me, that's why it's recovery. And then eventually it should be recovered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and the big book used recovered several times in it.
Yeah.
It damn sure did. Doesn't ever say recovering, does it? Maybe once talking about a physical illness. I don't remember. I want Adam to talk about calling your labels.
Labels?
Labels.
What do you mean? As far as calling myself an alcoholic?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why I refuse to?
Yeah, any kind of like you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, I mean,
don't play coy with me.
I'm just trying to narrow it down because we could talk about a lot of things.
I know, I'm kidding.
Somebody said it in the chat earlier about not liking introducing themselves as an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what that, like, once you are to the point of not drinking and you have kind of your life is back on track, you may be doing a few things in order to maintain your sobriety, but life's going good. As soon as you are comfortable saying I'm not an alcoholic anymore, you need to stop saying it. You need to stop identifying as an alcoholic, because what you're doing is every time your subconscious hears I am, and I even hate saying it in this context, just saying it. Every time I say I am whatever, your subconscious hears that.
Yeah.
Okay. And your subconscious is going to take that and it's going to flavor all of the thoughts it has for you. All right. So the way that I like to explain this is that the subconscious is like all of the workers of a company. Okay. And then you, as your conscious thoughts, which are only about 5% of what you think of during the day, 95% of what you do is subconscious. And I can prove it to you, because when's the last time you drove from here to work and forgot that you were driving?
God damn it. That's so rude, Adam, to point me out like that.
So your subconscious is basically handling it, right? So you go on to autopilot, and then your creative brain is thinking about something else. So you're only aware of about 5% of what your brain's actually thinking during a day. So basically what happens is a situation comes up, your subconscious has a whole bunch of answers ready to go. It sends one up for decision making. You're the CEO of the company and you say, yes, let's act on that one. Or no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this instead. And so if your subconscious is constantly being told that it's an alcoholic, it's always going to send you answers. It's going to give you suggestions of, hey, we need to handle this because we're an alcoholic. And that suggestion or that answer might involve drinking, or it might be to do something in a way because you're an alcoholic, instead of allowing you to be free to do something the right, just to do it. And so the sooner you get out of calling yourself an alcoholic and start to reprogram that identity and those subconscious beliefs, the sooner all the workers, the analysts, the data, the subconscious stops being flavored with that. Mm-hmm. And so then you just get a solution to a problem that you either yes or no. So I've said this before many times. I can't tell you the last time I had a thought to fix a problem or to make myself feel better with, hey, you should have a drink.
Yeah.
Now I think about alcohol. I see a billboard or we're telling stories or something like that. It's not like I'm sitting here thinking about alcohol all the time, but I reminisce. I remember the times that we had that back in college and stuff. But it doesn't make me want to use it, and it doesn't make me think that I need to use it. I haven't had a craving or a thought to use alcohol in years, and that's why I call it effortlessly sober. Yeah. Because I've done the work to make myself be reprogrammed to be a non-drinker. And so I think the sooner you can get away from saying I'm an alcoholic, the sooner you can get to that stage, and the sooner you can get out of the victim mindhood of being an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I think I can prove that it's still a negative to call yourself that, even if you're not drinking. The reason why I say that is generally calling somebody an alcoholic, calling somebody else is a negative term, right? Especially outside the rooms in the everyday world. So when you get offended because somebody says they're not calling themselves an alcoholic anymore, you've convinced yourself that it is a forever thing and you are offended by it. And so now you are okay, just like Adam said, with this negative term being attached to you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm offended that you are not an alcoholic anymore. I am an alcoholic forever and forever. You have completely changed your mind into absorbing and trying to somehow convince yourself that it is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't even have to drink for it to be a negative effect. And you can convince yourself. I just don't know if you're being constitutionally honest with yourself. That it's a term of endearment. I wear it like a badge of honor. And maybe you honestly do. But the rest of the world.
Exactly. That right there, the rest of the world, I don't care how well you think you don't care about it. There is a part of you that has to exist in society, and society considers it a negative term.
Yeah.
And unless you go and become a hermit and completely ignore society, there's no way that it's never going to not have a negative connotation.
Hi, my name's Scott, and I'd like to apply for this job. I'm an alcoholic, and
right. I mean,
I'd like to work for you.
Let's put it into something that's really controversial right now. How about all these? What do they call them? Minor attracted individuals, right? Pedophiles. Minor attracted persons.
MAPS.
Right. So the same thing is we're small little contingent of people is trying to tell everybody that, hey, it's okay to be, pedophile. and they're trying to change that. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it will, but
Better fucking not.
But it's the same concept, but just on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
No, it is, and it is. You're just trying to convince yourself, which is lying, which is supposed to be not part of the program.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I'm gonna throw it out there. Look, I used to weigh 330 pounds, so I have no problem saying this. It's like me walking around and saying, "Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. I'm obese. It's cool." You know, fuck you, right?
Right.
You tell me somebody that's out there that weighs 400, 500 pounds is doing the stuff you see on TikTok and Twitter and stuff about I'm hot and I'm sexy. I'm like, no, you're not. You know you're not.
oh shit!
You know that there's something inside of you that's telling you to go out and try to seek attention.
You watching TikTok, bro?
Oh, it's all banned anyway. Don't worry about it. It'll be banned soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie's right.
Exactly.
You know, it's good in the beginning. It's just I don't want it to be my lifestyle and my identity. And if that's what you want and need to stay sober, so be it.
Yeah.
I use the principles in my daily life. What I don't like is what I don't like is the ass. I don't want to say the C word. But you know what I mean.
Which one?
Yeah.
I don't like.
It hints at that very strongly, yes.
I don't, and like I don't like that part of anything. If I feel like that, I'm like, the walls are caving in, motherfucker. I don't like it. Okay, I gotta stop.
So one thing that a guy used to introduce himself at in our meetings and treatment was, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm in a constant state of growth and development."
Oh, yeah.
And that's brilliant.
Nice.
Grateful alcoholic.
Yeah. When we started off talking about that, didn't we? Grateful alcoholic. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm a grateful imbecile.
I'd be like, Lindsay, alcoholic.
Yeah, we were talking that before Lindsay got on, right? But being grateful for all the shit that we did for our people. Yeah.
I love that.
Not at all.
I'm so grateful that my kids were so scared they had to call their mom in the middle of the night to come get them, and she brought the cops. Boy, am I grateful for that lesson.
You know what I'm grateful for? Being sober.
I'm grateful for you guys. Be able to do this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm grateful to have a bunch of people watching today. I mean, 27 people viewing on X right now for me, and then there's 2 million watching Lindsay.
It's 184. Wait, how is yours different than mine?
No, if you highlight it, it shows you where it breaks it down to where they're watching from.
What do you mean?
Put your cursor over the little eyeball.
Cool. That's
Okay.
It's even. High control group. That's a good word.
High control group. What does that mean?
Shut up, Adam. You're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to be the smart one of the pair.
Wow. Jesus, man. Way to go all AA on his ass.
He's my smart half.
It's that stinking thinking.
It's your damn sponsor, Lindsay, over here.
Hey.
I just hope we get somebody who was having those nagging thoughts permission to go ahead and think them.
Yeah.
Because I know what it was like sitting in AA going, there's just something not quite right. This doesn't sit with me. It's okay to have those thoughts, and
Stephanie,
it's okay to explore them. It's not okay to just stop and go off the reservation and start drinking again.
Right.
So,
and you very well may be making excuses just to not want to be there. I've been there too.
Yeah.
But if you're honest with yourself, and that's the one person that you can't fool, then you'll know what your true intents are.
Exactly right.
Beautifully said. And you know what? I think that's what it's all about. Like I've been saying about the motives and the intent.
It's intent. Everything's intent.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. That's how I stay in alignment.
Well, I intend on ending this bitch in 8 minutes. So if there's any questions from the people listening, let's hear them.
Yeah. Somebody's got questions.
Party
Somebody's
people.
Everybody that's watching, there's got to be some questions
Yeah. Well, I hope Lady Rose, was it?
or some
Yeah.
contradictions.
I
Does
hope
somebody
she-
have some different viewpoints?
Yeah. If Lady Rose is still listening, I wish you the very best in treatment. Make sure that whenever you go and come back, you can find us. Hopefully, at least
Yeah.
one of us is still doing this when you get out. We're not canceled.
It's been a couple years. We'll be here sober.
Yeah. But we're pulling for you. I know I can't speak for them. I hate doing that. I shouldn't say that. But I know that these guys are pulling for you too. I am pulling for you, and I wish you the absolute best.
Yep.
That was beautiful, man.
Yep.
I appreciate that, and I agree.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to all the good people out there. Thank you to the children and the academy.
Sound like Michael Jackson.
What did he say?
Just want to thank all the children out there.
It's not funny. I just mean like that sounded bad. The people of the world. God made us all. What is that? Orange and brown and pink and blue. God made us all the. That's what I was trying to say. All the children of the world. All the children. I gotta go to bed soon.
Stephanie thinks you're funny. So you got that going for you.
I need help. Everybody's right. I need help. Good night.
Yes.
How did that?
Love to anyone struggling. You can do it.
Just keep coming, keep doing.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Get it. Let up.
Yeah,
All
see,
right.
I went Michael Jackson with it. Don't stop.
Well, here we go. We're going to end this
I
the
gotta
last 5 minutes with Lindsay karaoke. I hope everybody's ready.
What song?
We're taking requests.
Which song?
Cotton Eye Joe.
My son was listening to that the other day.
Sing some Garth Brooks for us.
Ew, I don't know Garth Brooks.
I got
That-
friends in love.
Oh yeah, Brian asked us earlier.
Smart. Smart recovery. That I'm gonna do. I was gonna say lessons. I'm gonna do videos on all the different stuff in there. I'm going through the training facilitation course so I can do meetings and because you have to be trained to do their meetings. They're badass, and you can just go on the. Hold on, let me put the website in. And Recovery Dharma, I've heard. There's a book though. I started reading it. It's not as common, but I think you can go online. You could find it online.
Oh, Refuge Recovery.
No, Recovery Dharma. That's actually no. There's in-person ones too. Yeah, and you guys know what? There's Emotions Anonymous. There is like 100+ different groups for different things. There's like 5 different eating ones. More than that. There's like 3 or 4 sex ones. Love. Emotions Anonymous. That's so everybody's there. Codependence. Yeah, I got the book. Adult Children of Alcoholics is a great one. I did a Codependence Anonymous meeting. It's good. All of it can be found online. Don't give me dirty looks.
Who's giving you dirty looks? Yeah, we're just listening.
Adam was.
You're on a roll.
I just have a very good resting bitch face.
You were so calm. You were literally like
Thinking bitch face.
Adam said that he didn't think that I could yeah, Steph, the Adult Children of Alcoholics. Have you ever heard of it or read it? The book is like this big, and like go on the website. The characteristics are like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah. You might be
So, yeah, here's a good question. So I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about all the different but relapse and stuff. So you got all these different 12-step programs, so for say Overeaters Anonymous, if somebody has an episode where they binge, I don't know anything about Overeaters Anonymous, but do they consider that is the same moral stigma attached to that as is attached to a relapse from drugs or alcohol?
I don't believe so, but I cannot say that for sure. But the thing is that same with like Sex and Love Anonymous. I've been there a few times with a client. And so they taught me about it too. But so like I went to Overeaters Anonymous. I've been to Food Addicts Anonymous. And it's like you make your own not sobriety, but your own like your own limits, guidelines, whatever.
Yeah.
Your recovery plan.
Yeah. What I was getting at is, with all the other hundreds of whatever programs there are out there, the thing that you're trying to get over and recover from, if you relapse into that, is the same stigma attached to it that AA pegs you with alcohol.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot more because you can't stop eating, so there's that whole thing of like, it's much more difficult. You have to literally moderate. And I don't know if that's the correct word, but you cannot just stop eating. You know what I mean? So like abstinence, I think, is easier than moderating with an addiction, if you ask me. So I think it would be a lot more difficult. Yeah. And therefore, I don't think that there's as much shame I'm not saying that. I shouldn't compare it to AA. I would be guessing. I don't want to say any. I don't know.
No, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a list, though, of all the Emotions Anonymous is badass, though.
Yes, there's a huge correlation between trauma and addiction.
Ooh, there's
Gabor Mate. What the fuck is his name? Gabor Mate. Check out his stuff. You can go on YouTube and type his name in and type in addiction, and you can listen to 15-minute, 20-minute clips, and they're beautiful. He explains it very well. Yeah.
Here's a list of 12-step groups. Hold on, I'm gonna post it.
Gabor.
It's Gabor. That's not right. He's Canadian.
Is he Stelio? I already knew.
He's Canadian.
Oh, he's like Serbian.
He's Canadian. Oh no, okay, he lived in Canada. He's not Canadian.
He lives in Canada. He's from
His parents were in the Holocaust. He escaped. He's a Holocaust survivor. When he was a kid, I forgot about that. Talk about fucking trauma.
Dude, took the words out of my mouth.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I love that man.
Steely Dancer just testing us on that one?
I think he was. I think so.
Hungarian.
That was close.
Oh. Ivor. Are you Hungarian?
That's obviously a play on words with his name. Come on.
I know. I love your picture. That's not you, is it?
Oh my God.
No, but he's just so.
That's not you, is it?
No,
it is me.
It looks like a what are they called? Like a graphic. Stop. Ivor.
Yeah, I'm more convinced.
I got yelled at for saying your name wrong yesterday, like 100 times.
Yeah, I'm convinced now more than ever that trauma is like the thing, and I've learned so much about what trauma can be as opposed to what I thought it was, and it's really been mind-opening.
Me too.
Me 3. Oh, I have one more thing I gotta say. Oh my God. The 4th step. I said this the other day with trauma. I don't like that. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to get that out. Be careful. Be careful. Because you are opening up trauma. It's very dangerous. I won't even touch trauma, even though I know how to do the basics, right? Like I'm trained with the basics, but like, no. Unless you have a thoroughly experienced trauma therapist, careful. That's all I have to say. Because if someone opens up that trauma, that's why I don't like the 4th step anymore.
I don't understand when I told my first sponsor about me probably being molested because of everything that I did. Right. It all came back to fear. So I thought he explained it very well.
That's what I'm talking. It's not funny at all.
It was just I can laugh at it because it happened to me, but it was clearly fear.
Me
too. It was the result of everything in my life. So yeah, I mean, I guess as a kid if you're molested as a child, that's probably pretty scary, but it was somehow because of my. Anyway, see a professional when it comes to that shit.
At least they didn't say it was your fault, like I hear some people say.
Well,
they get told. Yeah, because of the 4th. People are gonna yell at me for this. I'm just saying this is my experience, okay? Of what people.
I had 2 people going back and forth with me because I said everything in your life, once you realize, is 100% your responsibility. I said, I'm not talking about fault. It's not your
Right, it's
fault.
different.
But when you take 100% responsibility for everything, you can truly live from a place of freedom. Oh, that set a couple people off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different than fault.
But words are important, right? Because you're taking the words and that's not what they mean. So
Yeah, if you
that's a great point.
if you put responsibility into Google, it doesn't say anything about fault. I think the second or third definition down says sometimes like fault is assigned legally, but the actual word responsibility does not mean fault.
Right.
True. You're so smart.
Truth, he is.
Truth with an F.
And 2 O's. Yes.
Stephanie's right. That's I've been learning a lot more about all that stuff, you guys, and it is very much in common with like addiction and stuff. Some of it.
Well,
Right, yeah. I got to get up and get a flight in the morning. So
yeah, and I gotta go shower and try to get my ass to the gym in the morning. We'll see how that goes.
I got to go to work tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I'm
Me
gonna go to the
too.
gym and then go to work.
Yeah,
Why
my
do we
work's just in Richmond in the morning.
Ew. When are you coming back?
Wednesday.
No, to my area next month.
Oh, to Tampa? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see the May schedule when it comes out.
We could start pissed.
No, I'm not pissed. I was just going to say, shameless plug here. If you enjoyed the content tonight, please find The Sober Heathen on YouTube and X, and find The Atom Head where on X and YouTube.
No, I'm not on real. Well, I'm on YouTube, but
Okay.
there's nothing up there yet.
Okay, yeah.
It's just playing around on the boob tube. What is yours? The Sober Heathen for your X, right? And your YouTube.
Yes,
Are you
everything.
Literally asking that?
Well, I literally forget. I've asked him his email 10 times. Like, you guys, I can't even remember my own. Like, why you gotta hate on me for that? You know that I got problems. I got memory problems.
Well, thanks for being part of the conversation, Brian and Steely
you.
and Stephanie and everybody.
Great
again,
questions.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
It makes it a lot more fun when we got interaction. So, all right. Well, good night, all.
Adios.
Deuces.